So the last section we're going to cover today, and as we went through our circle diagram, we're now at the last spot, is our workflow and approval process. So what we're actually going to do is have one user enter in a purchase order that would then need to be approved before it was then sent out to the vendor. So let's go ahead and take a look at that section now. So the first thing we're going to do is we've logged in as Joe Wiley in the system, and as you can see, completely different menu. The only thing Wiley is able to do is enter purchase orders now. So we'll go ahead and that's really where their default screen is. So again, that's all they do is enter purchase orders all day long. They log in the system, they're on the purchase order screen. They don't even get to a dashboard. So that kind of goes back to that whole user experience of putting someone exactly where they need to be. So we'll go ahead and look up our vendors. And we'll go ahead and add a line item to it. Now, the way we structured our PO approval process is that any purchase order that's entered into the system, the Bouvier user would have to approve it. Any purchase order over $5,000, Max will have to go ahead and approve. So we have a two-tier, or as many tiers as we need to, structure based on the workflow that we want to define based on the business rules of your organization. So we'll go ahead and look up an item. We'll select our injection molding machine, quantity 1. And because this item is over $19,000, it's going to need to be approved by Max and not Bouvier. So the first step is we're actually going to take it off of hold. And as soon as we took it off of hold, the status went to pending approval. So the system knows that, and the person taking the purchase order or entering the purchase order in this case knows that this is going to have to be approved before it gets sent out. So we'll go ahead and hit save. Go ahead and log out of the Wiley user, and we'll come back in as the administrative user. We now see the purchase order pop up on my items to approve list. So we talked a lot about dashboards, and as events happen within the system, if I've got my to-do list sitting on there, it refreshed, it says I've got a purchase order that needs to be approved. So we can go ahead and actually drill down on the purchase order and open it up. And we can see that it's pending approval. And at this point, we can go ahead and approve the purchase order because the Max user, who I've logged in as, has the rights to be able to approve it and at this point even release it. So we can go ahead now and go on to the next step. So if we go back to our dashboard, it's gone. I've completed my task. So as events happen that are defined within our approval maps as a business process workflow, for someone enters a PO, if it's under $5,000, the purchase order manager can approve it because it's under $5,000, but anything over $5,000 has to go to the CFO Max. So Max would then approve it. It goes to his to-do list, and as he sees it show up on his to-do list, he could drill down on the transaction, he could approve it. As soon as he approves it, it goes away. Now, a little bit more about the approval processes. We said any PO over $5,000. That $5,000 is a setting that we set up within our approval map. So it could be any dollar amount. And also, it could be a group of individuals. It could be Max. It could be Doug. First one who approves it, great. It goes off of everyone else's to-do list. So it can go to an individual or it can go to a group, and it can be for any dollar amount or it can be in steps. Anything below 5,000 Bouvier, above 5,000 but less than whatever goes to Max. After Max, it goes to Doug. So really structuring it based on the business rules of your organization and be able to create that so that when these events do happen and someone needs to approve a transaction, they can, making the system that much basically allowing us to take control of our business, as we talked about in other areas of the software, taking control of your business, letting the technology work for us. So we'll go back over to our sitemap now, and as we've just stated, in the workflow, it's going to make sure that we manage our businesses better, and anything that needs to be approved is going to be approved before it gets sent out. And now, as we look at the full circle, the customer is able to see all of the different areas we covered, from the user experience to mobile solutions to CRM to our order-to-cash transaction to our customer portal, the reporting options that are inherent within the system, and then the workflow and the approval processes. So to answer that great question we had talked about before, so what? Well, the fact that we were able to do this anywhere, anytime, and on any device. We saw in our mobile solutions we could pull up the Acumatica system and find out, and to check stock or to enter an expense report. We were able to have multiple people log in, so there's no user licensing within Acumatica, so that everyone is going to be able to have a login and get the information or enter the information that they need to. We were able to, in essence, manage by exception, by being able to have the process flows, or being able to create a generic inquiry that said, of all the leads we got in last week, do they all have, if activities equal null or they didn't exist, pop that one up on my dashboard. I need to know what hasn't been followed up on. Not all, the 27 leads that somebody did phone back. I want to know about the 2 leads they didn't follow up on, because that's how I can better take control of my business. And then lastly, all of this is going to help enhance your competitive advantage by offering the customer portal so that your customers can interact with you on a real-time basis, by getting information to the right people at the right time. All of this is going to allow you to better manage your business. This concludes the presentation of the Acumatica overview presentation using the tell, show, tell concept for presenting the software to your customers. Thank you for your time. My name is Tom Costa. I'm a pre-sales consultant at Acumatica, and my email address is tcosta@acumatica.com.